Central Ohio, an abundance of farmland and home to many cities like Dayton, Springfield, and Columbus. But what a lot of people don't know is approximately 443 million years ago, these cities and farms were once a seaside vacation spot. Yep, you heard that correctly. The landscape you see in the area today is remarkably different of those many years ago. If you were to throw on some snorkel gear and dip your head underneath the surface, this is an example of what you may see. The development of the bedrock displayed in the following video began its formation during the Silurian period, which as stated before began approximately 443 million years ago. Here is a representation of Earth's surface in correlation to North America at this point in time, following an abrupt drop in sea level at the end of the Ordovician period. This, however, will change throughout the next 10 million years as sea level will begin another period of ascent. Throughout the video, you will be able to see how these environments, especially lithologies and life within it, progress throughout this change in sea level. Now that you have an idea of what's going on in a broad perspective of Earth, let's begin our focus on the scenery of Southwest Ohio specifically. At the start of the Silurian, the state of Ohio, for the most part, could be described as a shallow marine environment. Our area of focus also has the inclusion of coral reefs as well, providing ecosystems to many organisms. The layers observed in this video meet this exact criteria as each one is comprised of either limestone, dolomite, or shale, all in which originate from a shallow marine environment. Observing the transitions in mineralogy throughout these profiles gives viewers a better understanding of the geologic history of the area. A stratigraphic section is a sequence of layers of rocks in the order they were deposited. Displayed on the screen is a stratigraphic section of each layer we will be going through for the duration of the video. To obtain our analyses, we will migrate from oldest to youngest bedrock within our target stratigraphic profile. With doing that, we travel to 3 different locations to get more of a sense of what these ancient environments may have looked like. All are located in Southwest Ohio, all within 10 miles apart from each other. Our first location is here at Oaks Quarry Park, located in Fairborn, Ohio. At this site, we can get a great look at our oldest layer, the Brassfield Formation. As hard as it may be to believe, the core you see behind me was once a shallow marine environment, home to many different organisms.
The Brassfield is the oldest section of the Silurian. The limestone is formed by a shallow marine tropical environment. The beddings is thinly layered, and the beddings are an average of 10 centimeters in thickness. The color is a reddish on the top and light gray throughout the whole thing. It also has inner beddings of calcite, which are just thin layers of calcite throughout it.
This is a fossil sample that we've collected here from Oaks Quarry. You can come out here yourself and find a variety of fossils, such as rugose corals and crinoids.
We're on the top of the Brassfield here, and this top surface actually represents an old reef. And in that reef you have a variety of fossils, but the beauty of this site is that it's actually been planated by glaciers, so it sort of polished the surface. So as we look down, you've got a variety of fossils here. You've got a horned coral, these solitary corals that sort of sit on that reef and just pull food into themselves. You've got sponges, the stromatopaurid there, and then a little over there you have a halcyon, which is a colonial coral. So you've got a variety of different fossil types here that represent that reef community.
Next we have John Bryan State Park. Interesting enough, all layers can be observed and analyzed at this location, though our main focus here was the Dayton Formation, Osgood Shale, Lower Limestone, Massey Shale, and the Euphemia Dolomite.
Right now I'm standing on the Dayton Formation, which is the layer just above the Brassfield. A dolomite is like a limestone, but with calcium magnesium carbonate. We can test if a formation is a dolomite or limestone based on a simple test that you can do in the field or the lab.
Now we'll be showing you how to do an acid test in the lab. In front of me, I have 6 different rocks of 6 different sections. These 3 rocks are the dolomite and these 3 rocks are limestone, and how we decide which type of rock is between the acid test. So I will drop some hydrochloric acid on these rocks, and if it has a violent reaction, it is a limestone. If it has a slight reaction, it is a dolomite. So as you can see on this Euphemia, it is not a violent reaction, so it is a dolomite. And on this Dayton, violent reaction, so it's a limestone. So this is how we test. So the Euphemia with the slight reaction is a dolomite, as we said previously, and the Dayton is a limestone because it had a violent reaction.
On top of the Dayton Formation, we have the Osgood Shale. This section is composed of shale with inner bedding of thin limestone layers. Because of this section's high shale content, it's less resistant than the surrounding dolomite and limestone. Right now I'm standing on the Laurel Limestone. This section includes inner bedding of small shale layers. This section is difficult to see at our location due to fallen debris completely covering it. This is the Massey Shale. It's very thinly bedded in one of the least resistant layers, causing it to crumble and fall easily. Fossils can be found in this layer.
Moving on is another massively bedded layer known as the Euphemia dolomite. The bedding in this layer could be classified as a sparite. Last but not least, we made our way to Mad River Gorge to take a deeper look into our top 2 layers, the Springfield and Cedarville dolomite.
Here we have a section of thinly bedded light orange dolomite that is crystalline heavy, making it a sparite. We call this the Springfield dolomite, and because it's less resistant than the layer above it, it creates this interesting caved-in formation.
The Cedarville dolomite, as you can see behind me, is massively bedded. It is light gray, and you can rock climb here at the Mad River Gorge. The Springfield dolomite to the right of me and the Cedarville dolomite above me has a layer of fossils in between. And the most common one found here is a brachipod.
The contact between the Cedarville and the Springfield is denoted by a bed of pentamered brachiopods, and those brachiopods are in their growth position, meaning that they're in the position in which they thrive and live, which tells us something about the sediments from the Cedarville dolomite. Below that into the Springfield, you've got that blocky brick-like structure, and then behind me you can actually see where it goes into thin-bedded but not the vertical fractures. That would be the Euphemia dolomite. The Euphemia dolomite also has those pentamered brachiopods. That's how one identifies the Euphemia dolomite.
So if you ever find yourself passing through Central Ohio, be sure to stop at one of these parks to check the local earth history.